What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I want to start this video off with an apology. I haven't been releasing videos as often as I want, and it's just kicking me in the ass. I'm gonna try get videos out a lot more often, but let's just get right into this video. We're working on the Volvo today again, and I actually am just gonna go through a lot of the areas and get them cleaned up and sealed. That way they're kind of done, out of the way, don't have to really worry about it. The best part about this is that it doesn't have to look good because it is just a really cheap Volvo. So we're gonna try and make it the best we can. A lot of this stuff won't be seen from the outside, so it doesn't really matter. So I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So the main parts that we wouldn't want rust are these wheel arches. So what I'm gonna do, I don't know if you will be able to see under this, probably not actually, because it's got this plastic. So I'll have to take this plastic wheel trim off in here. But actually this side might not even be, there might not be anything, but down here, this has got a trim piece that pretty much covers it all, but it is cut all the way through here. So this is actually an area where I am going to have to cut out a piece, weld the new piece in, but I'll definitely have to pull this part back just to make sure that there's no rust or anything under there. Another spot, little tiny spot right there, and there's a trim piece that covers all of this as well, so I'm just going to seal all that up. Doesn't really matter how it looks. And then these arches at the back, so we got the spot down there all the way up ultimately and around. So what I'm gonna do is to pretty much take all this paint off, clean it all the way down to bare metal, tape off the arch a little bit, that way this edge doesn't get too destroyed. But I also want to clean up the inside in here, because that's where all like your gunk, your dirt sits and holds moisture and causes rust. So I'm going to go from the inside to clean all that up to bare metal, and then we're going to seal it. So that's the game plan for today. We'll see how far we get. Feels good to be back in the garage working though. We have done quite a bit here. We have a tool cart, we have a welder now, we have an engine crane, so got some things happening behind the scenes that you guys aren't necessarily aware about, but I definitely just want to start making videos more often, and that means I can spend more time in the garage, which is one of my favorite things to do. So let's get started. I gotta suit up and then we'll begin.
My life be like, yeah.
Huge tune.
My life be like, yeah.
All right, we're getting there. I got one side pretty much ready to go. Got everything cleaned up. I don't know if you can tell. Everything cleaned up, bare metal, taped off. The spot right here, that's all good to go, as well as the spot in here. Obviously, I'm gonna have to Obviously, I'm gonna have to clean everything up, the surfaces before I paint. The only thing is, I'm gonna have to do the passenger side now at the back, but I'm not gonna actually be able to go and paint it today because there is a spot that's pretty far gone that I have to cut out. I can show you guys. Right here. So what I'm gonna do is just like cut a sliver out of here and then pretty much make a new piece. But I'm still gonna get everything prepped around the arches here. And then I'll probably use like a rust converter on there so it doesn't start corroding right now. Or even like an oil or something that I can put on it just so it doesn't start corroding. Just so it gives me time to get this piece made, because that won't be made today. But there is part of the rear door here that I can go through, clean up, and seal, paint today, as well as the front wheel arch. There is just a small little spot that I'm going to clean up today. Let's keep going. It's hot today. Shouldn't have wore this suit. I mean, ultimately I can take it off at any time. But we're gonna keep going and we'll give you an update soon. Hopefully I can have everything prepped within the next couple hours. I really don't want to have this drag on for a couple days of doing this because it's really messy, really dirty. So I figure if everything is prepped today, at least once those pieces are made, we just weld all at once, seal everything up, paint it, and move on. But it's definitely interesting, definitely fun. I've never done this before, but we're getting there. Hopefully it comes out good. Like I said though, it doesn't have to be amazing. We're gonna actually use POR 15 or POR 15, depending on the way you decide to say it. But we've had good luck with that on the Datsun, and we just don't want rust, so ultimately that would probably be the best bet. All right guys, I'm gonna keep going. We'll check in a little bit. I was going through, finishing off everything on the driver's side, prepping, and this is what I found. Now this looks like some wool, steel wool, and this is like some green foam rubber. So there was an impact or rust or something that happened on the front rocker, and they used this to patch it. So I don't know what this is. I don't even know if I should be touching it with my bare hands. I don't think so, because there's shit everywhere. So we're gonna throw this out. And we're gonna do this properly. So I'm gonna go through, mark everything off, and now the issue was, it's not too big, but because they had that steel wool in there, it was stuffed compact between the rocker and then the frame behind it. It was holding moisture and was starting to cause some corrosion on the frame. Good thing it is very minimal. It's just surface rust. I can grind that down and then seal it off. We won't have any issues. But I'm just gonna go through my handy dandy Sharpie, mark off where I want to cut the hole, and then it'll just be a simple square that we cut out to weld in and fix that spot properly. The hole is probably about this big. Definitely not something that you want to just use that Bondo for, whatever the heck that product was. But we're going to be doing more of a permanent fix, hopefully. And the nice thing is too that I can get to the back side of the panel that we weld in, and I can seal everything off on the inside as well, just to make sure that there is absolutely no chance of that panel rusting. Might as well show you. It's amazing just to be spending the day in the garage. So this is the piece here. So I don't know if you guys can tell here. So here's the hole. Pen goes all the way through it, and it was just patched with that. So we'll probably cut out a good chunk, to be honest. And I can get my hand in on the other side. If you can see my finger there, probably not, but you can get your hand all the way through. But it is pretty thin metal to begin with, so I don't know how much I'm going to cut out. If that's the case, I'll just have to mark this hole, or that could be something that we line up after with the trim piece. But this is pretty much all covered, like this trim piece here comes across and then down. So I'm not too worried about how this part looks, because this bottom section is all rocker guard, so it's not actually paint, and then this is covered by, like I said, that trim piece. So it'll be pretty simple just to not even have to worry about matching the paint and going all crazy with Bondo. It's just going to be a matter of trying to get this angle, like this curved angle, right. And there's a little like step here. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's higher up here than down there. And that's pretty much it. I'll probably just POR 15 this whole panel, this whole section. It doesn't really go into this lip here. This wheel arch is good. The other side has a little bit that we're going to take care of and clean up today and seal, because the other side has some rust here, but it's just surface rust, so I can POR 15 that today and then not have to worry about it. So it'll just be this side that we'll have to cut out. But I'm actually going to go mark my cuts, cut it out right now. That way I'll put some like rust preventer on here for now, just so it doesn't start corroding as we're making the pieces, because it probably won't be for another couple weeks before we weld. But I thought that hole was a lot smaller until I literally just took my thumb, pushed it in, and it just caved right through. So I'm also going to put some rust preventer on here, because this piece here is starting to get some very minor surface rust. It just rubs off with my finger, but maybe put some oil on there. But that piece looks pretty good. It's the other side that's going to be pretty crazy, but making progress. I don't know if I'd be able to do this for a living, the rust repair and all that kind of fun stuff, but definitely nice to learn, especially on a car that doesn't really matter. Like, I'd hate to like have to cut into the Datsun and then not be able to fix it. So I mean, cutting into the Volvo, it's not that big of a deal, but the Datsun you can't find panels for. I don't even know if you could find panels for the Volvo, but they're definitely a lot more common than the Datsun is. All right, let's keep going. Oh, big stretch. All right, guys, it's now the next day. I ended up spending, I would say, 8 to 10 hours just working on the Volvo here yesterday. We're gonna continue on. Ultimately, I got all of the wheel arches prepped. Now, ultimately, the only one we're actually gonna be able to seal today is the driver's side rear, just because every other wheel arch needed some piece cut out of it. So we'll go through, check out these pieces here. So I had to cut out a spot there. Same thing on the other side, exact same spot. I don't know why. Must be a common thing, but I could technically just go ahead and buy a new front fender, but I figured it being a budget build, try and save some cash by just making the pieces myself. The biggest issue is going to be passenger side rear. You can see that hole right there. So that had to be cut out, and because there's two pieces of metal that come together between here and here, that's probably going to be the hardest. And because there is so much seam sealer here, everything's going to have to be ground down before any welding starts, and that goes for all of the other spots as well, just because there's dirt, grease and all that stuff on the inside of the metal, so that will have to be all cleaned off All right, we're almost ready to begin sealing the surfaces. I got some pieces hanging up on the wall over here that we're gonna paint as well. Both rear wheel wells are good to go. And then there's just a couple other spots, but we have to go through and clean up the areas with some degreaser. There's degreaser in there, water in there. And then we'll go through and do some like metal prep. It's actually this stuff over here. If I can get it out. This stuff here, it's got to sit on the metal for 20-30 minutes depending on how bad the rust is. Now a lot of these areas we've ground down and there's very minimal rust on the spots, so it shouldn't need more than 20 minutes. And then we're gonna go through, wash that off with just some water, and then, come on bag. Then we're gonna just coat everything with POR 15. So that's gonna be the steps, probably a good 2 hours of work between washing everything and then prep, using the metal prep, and then letting that sit, and then put the POR 15 on. And then we'll have to top coat today too. So a lot more work. It's a couple days of just cleaning everything up and getting it sealed. So let's keep moving. A few hours later, and I am pretty much getting ready to put the POR 15 on. Do a couple coats, probably 3 to 4. Some areas where there is a little bit more rust, we might go a little bit more, maybe do 4 or 5. The goal is to do really thin coats. And now we're just waiting. I washed all the parts that we're going to be covering with water, so now we just got to wait ultimately until they dry. So I'm going to give it about 10-20 minutes. And then we'll start top coating. After that, there's not really much more to do, and that'll probably be it for today. It's been another full day of doing this. This is the solution from cleaning out all the parts here. So I mean, pretty dirty. And then we let the metal prep sit, and it was actually cool to see. You can kind of tell that it was changing. Like you can see here, it looks like it was actually converting the rust. And it does have like a zinc coating that it like leaves on top of the paint, or on top of the metal, which is what helps the POR 15 stick to it. So give it another 10-15 minutes. We'll start POR 15ing, and then we'll top coat after that. Got everything coated. Now it's just time to I got everything coated. Now it's just time to let it dry before we can top coat it. It needs to get dry to the touch. Probably about 2-3 hours. But so far everything looks good. We got 2 coats on there. That's probably all I'm gonna do. But I do realize that there's gonna be the lines from the tape. That's okay. Like I said, it's not gonna look absolutely perfect, but at least, can't really see in there actually. At least there won't be any more rust. Got the other side done over here. There's a little portion on the door there. And then I got up and around to here done, and then I left a little bit of room. Of course the camera died on me, but everything has been coated. I'm gonna wait for it to dry for a few hours, top coat it, and then remove the tape and we'll be good to go. But that's it for this video, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out and stay classy, crew.